Shit. Haven't used this in a long time, it seems like. What's going on, guys? We're back at it again. Today we are talking about the power of words because nothing is accidental. So right here, I know the thumbnail is type crazy, right? But I want to talk about this. So yesterday I talked about how, you know, Santa gets all the credit for the work that people do, right? Or dads, moms, like whoever gets gifts. Well, who gets the credit? Not the fucking person who gets gifts. It's more so like the Santa who gets credit for it, right? And so there's this game that I don't know if it's around now, probably is, but it's like you grab words and then you fuck around with the words and see how many words you can create. Now, I'm not going to create a bunch of words necessarily, but what I will create is one word, or we'll see what we can do with it one time. So if I grab a marker right here, I got the handy dandy whiteboard, we're going to go ahead and put good old Santa. And I want you to hear how it sounds. So we got Santa, right? Santa. Oh, shoot. Whoops. Yeah. Oh God, here we go. Here we go. We were spoiling the thing. That's Saturday. Let's just okay. So Santa, Santa, Santa. All right. Well, same words, just use it different. Santa, Satan, Santa, Satan. You're literally switching the N around. That's all you're doing. Why is that so fucking close? Why does that sound the same? Santa, Satan. Literally the same shit, right? That's a big hint, right? So if you're using your words properly, and I always say that your words have powers, you're spell casting, right? So what spell are you casting when? Oh, Santa is coming. Woo, Santa. Yay, Santa. Ooh, yeah, Satan! Yeah, Satan! That shit too close, bro. That's damn near the same shit. Quite literally. And we got them evil laughs too. So the thing that's crazy about it is that we're just using our words just to use them. We're not being cautious about what we're using. We may be contradicting ourselves, being hypocrites, right? When we're using these words. Hey man, yo, I tried to get that job, but it just didn't work out. Yeah, because you tried. You didn't do it because you could either do it or you don't have to do it, right? Big difference. And so, why is it that you can either do it or not instead of trying? But they put this try in your mentality. Okay, let's play the game again. When you're in school, they make you do certain things that become habitual. And now it's like flicking the light. You don't think about flicking the light. You're just like, where's the light? And you like, and you flick it, right? You don't even think about that shit. You just know what you have to look for. Well, it's kind of similar in school, right? You know that you got to look for the answers in the book, right? And yet, for some reason, maybe you're not one of those people who do well with the book. Maybe you need guidance by the hand. You might not be the type that takes tests well, but you put a wrench in your hand and shit, you could take a whole car apart and put that shit all back together. What is that? Is that just your element of learning by hands on versus by reading? You're more of a doer than a reader or a listener, right? And so with this game that they play, it's like if you notice, they started taking away all the things that actually give you skills. They also take away the value of creativity. they pull that away real fast because if you're too creative, then you might be able to create something in the world that yeah could help people. But what happened to that guy who created this car that could run off of straight up water? Do you know about him? No, because that motherfucker dead. Why? Because he didn't want to sell the plants. But why did that happen? Because it would disrupt an industry. There's also, because we're talking about words here, right? There was this post of this lady. She was on a talk show host's thing, right? So it was Cedric the Entertainer, this lady, and then the talk show host. And so the talk show host was like, "Hey, look, this you had a crazy spill and your leg was looking crazy. Your leg don't look that bad now." She's like, "Yeah, you know what I use? Oil of oregano." And when she said that, Cedric's face instantly was like, "Fat motherfucker." Like, the fuck? What is she talking about? But the reason why that is because what she's talking about is a disruptive tool, herbal medicine, to the current medicine, which the current medicine is not medicine. It's a maintaining your symptoms, or just like basically, okay, I'm bleeding right now. We're just gonna stop the bleeding, but before it starts healing, we're gonna cut that bitch open again, and it's gonna bleed again. So you're gonna be forever bleeding and never fully heal that scar. And that's what modern medicine is. It's just for you to be dependent on this drug, so that hey, without this drug, I'm useless, right? With this drug, I'm useful. But at the same time, I never fully become myself because once I come off the drug, I go back to my ways. So that's not a solve. That's not a cure. That's just something to like mask the symptoms for now, right? And so when it comes to big pharma, when it comes to all these things, you gotta look and pay attention. Why is it that they pop the medicine on the screen and then they're like, "Oh yeah, but the system may cause and death," and it's like, huh? Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Why is it the video was so nice, nonchalant, and then at the end, the last 5 seconds, maybe not even 5 seconds, the last second, it's like them telling you all about the other parts of the medicine. So why the fuck am I gonna take this thing if at the end of the day it's like I'm gonna have a whole list? Like I could hit it like that, and Santa's list goes off, and his list goes on forever. So it's the same thing with the symptoms, but it's just to cure your pain. It's like this will help you with your pain. That's it. But it'll cause all this shit, right? So the game is really paying attention to words. Don't but anything unless you want to negate what happened before. Hey, I love you, baby. But I really prefer you being over there. Okay, you just said but. So you just negated the I love you. Did you know that? Did you know that you're not speaking life into people and you're speaking death into people? That happens. I've been there. I didn't realize until I knew what I knew. And so now that I have the understanding, I use but specifically for certain situations. Let's give you another one real quick before I get into this other one. If my name is Emmanuel. I didn't introduce myself. I'm on a mission to help 7,200 people learn everything I know from mindset to business and beyond, so they can each help another 7,200 people do the same thing. And so, if you want to be a part of that 7,200 people, make sure make sure to hit me on a text only, no calls. It's a real number. Here's the phone, right? Text me at 737-864-0824. Again, 737-864, um, 737-864-0824. And just text me Santa so I know you came from this video. Okay, back to it. Wordplay is something that you gotta pay attention to because there's a lot of things that may seem impossible but are really not, right? That's one of my favorite words as soon as I gain this lesson, which impossible, let's break it down, right? Let's go to our Satan board. So if we break down impossible, right? Impossible. Something like that. But what if we just do a slice in the middle? Shing. What does that say now? Impossible. So then, is anything really impossible in this world? If even the impossibility means that it's an actual possibility, I don't think so. I think that that means that we have a lot more opportunity than we know that we have. But yet we were taught differently, right? We were taught the word means something when it means something else. The game is to be a student of life, a constant student of life. If you master something, then what happens is you learned everything and you have nothing left to learn. You could learn from the rich man how to be poor and how to be rich. You could learn from the poor man how to be poor and how to be rich. You just got to do the opposite of what they're doing to get the opposite result. It's simple, but most people tend to overcomplicate things. Just like language, you don't need to use eloquent words, exacerbate the situation. There's so many different words that you could use, but now are you going to be understood? Is the point to be understood or is it to sound smart? Because I would argue that the person with the simplest language is probably the smartest person in the room. Because if you can break down a complex topic into something that is plain English, then you probably master that thing. Now, I know I said there's no mastering. So you have a higher level of understanding of what is going on. And if that's the case, that just gives you the ability to teach better, right? There's some teachers that are better than others. There's some coaches that are better than others. Why is that? It's because they could break down complex concepts into plain English. It's like shooting a ball. Hey, all you gotta do, like if I'm your coach, put the ball in your hand and just shoot it, throw it to the net. That's all you gotta do. Well, that's wrong. There's technique, right? You gotta put your goose head up, right? There's multiple different orientations of what you have to do in order to shoot properly, right? But if I cannot articulate myself, explain myself in a way that you could understand it, you'll never shoot. You'll literally just be tossing up the ball, quite literally. And if that's the case, then you never learned anything. And it's like, hey, my team sucks. I don't know why. These motherfuckers don't know how to shoot. They can't dribble worth a fuck. Like they can't pass. Like this is ridiculous. My team is awful. Have no chemistry. Well, why is that? I didn't teach the motherfuckers that. Or I thought I did, but obviously my teaching style is trash because I cannot break it down in a way that they understand it, right? Everybody learns differently. And so if I'm explaining with the same words, casting the same spells to everybody, is only going to work on a select few. So I got to change how I'm approaching it, see where they're at so that I could explain it in their way. Some people I might be, yeah, man, just catch and shoot. And okay, yeah, I got you. And they got the form, they got everything. They know what to do. And there's some people, hey, they go bounce past the ball, so they go, you know, do it from their chest, throw it to the floor, and it's gonna hit the floor, and it's gonna come to you. And then once it hits your chest, you grab it, you do all the fucking mechanisms that you gotta do to shoot the ball, and then you shoot it. Some people gotta be explained to like they're 3 years old. Some people could be explained just simply like, here's another example. If I tell you to build a website, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe it's like maybe you're the person. Hey, I need you to build a website. Here's the domain, And then you go there, you build the whole website. You already know what to do. You know the softwares to use. You know the exact look to put onto it because you know the objective, the mission of the company, and whatnot. But then there's other people that I gotta give a list A through Z of exactly how to make a website. Why is that? One person understands because maybe they experienced it. The other person hasn't had that much experience with it. So you got to break it down step by step so they understand exactly what you want. Of course, we're talking about A players here, which is a different subject for a different day. But there's A players, B players, E players, fucking garbage players, all over the place. And so A player is way more valuable than a B player. Hopefully you're able to find some S rank players because anime hierarchy. But again, going back to the words of Mr. Santa and Satan. The problem is that when you say things that are against the grain and seemingly impossible task, people are going to look at you weird. Like weird is not normal. Normal is weird. You should know that. Because if each person is the same, that sounds like an NPC. When you play a video game, you want to make your character your own. Maybe in GTA, you made your guy brolic. Maybe in GTA, you made your guy skinny. What hairstyle did you choose? You built up the character the way you want to be perceived. And that's the same thing in life. You build up this character the way you want to be perceived. But some people don't realize what character they're building. They don't realize they're building a character. Emmanuel Velasco is a character. Straight up. That may be my government name. But at the end of the day, this is a character that I'm playing. This character could change. I could have an experience, a super negative experience that turns me into a monster. I could have a super positive experience that turns me into the ultimate giver. But that's my choice to decide. I get to decide which version of me I show. There's an infinite amount. I mean, the potential is infinite. There's the $1 billion version. There's the slave version. There's the homeless version. And there's plenty of different versions. And the same is true for you. The version that you are today is not the version you have to be forever. You can change. The thing is, when you change, some people are no longer able to serve you the way they used to when you were that other person. Now that you became something new, you gotta find a different crowd, a newer crowd. That's one of the hardest parts about growth. Growing and learning yourself by trial and error, becoming a scientist in your own life, building up your character to exactly how you want it. What that means is that if people are not in that same mode as you, the same lane, they end up getting left behind. And because they see you achieving what you want to achieve, they end up feeling less because they know that if you could do it, they could do it too, but they're not doing it. And that's why it's the hardest because if they're not doing it and you are, you're shitting on them because you wanted to achieve something better for yourself. The game is ass backwards. They'll cheer for you until you win. And then they'll be like, you probably got a big head now. No, I worked hard for this shit. I had to fight for this thing. You just chose not to fight no more. And that's why I had to move on. Because you chose to stay the same. You chose to watch the game. You chose to drink. You didn't choose to study. You didn't choose to elevate yourself. What you chose was complacency. And honestly, getting too comfortable is scary. Because when you get too comfortable, then you could get stuck. And in order to get unstuck, you have to have something big happen. Massive momentum in one direction has to happen in order for that shift to happen. And for the most part, sometimes that shift never comes, to be real, because you're not seeking it. So you stay the same forever and stay in the trap, complaining about the same shit, but doing the same shit, not changing. Is it worth it? Is the life that you want, the person you want to become, worth the sacrifice of who you are and who you're around? Most say, yeah. I mean, if for $1 million, yeah, I'll do it. But then they fall off. They don't do it. New Year's resolutions happen a lot. Lose weight, right? The masses show up at the gym, and then by February 1st, the gym's back to normal. Thank God. Shit. As a regular, you just be like, oh fuck, we're going into fucking the season of these niggas that act like they want to go to the gym, but they don't really want to go to the gym. And so, like, we're gonna have to deal with all this equipment being used and having a hard time finding the equipment for a month. They don't like it. All the people who go to the gym and actually go to the gym consistently hate when January 1st comes around, because that's when all the people who should have been starting their New Year's resolution the year before come back year, time and time again. The fall off is real. It's not about going so hard and creating this big momentum. It's about the baby steps. What are you doing right now today that's moving you forward for who you want to become? You don't have to change fast necessarily. When I say this, people call it blasphemy. And after I say this, we'll see you tomorrow. Just focus on becoming 1% better each day. And then after that, 1% better each day becomes a 365% better version of yourself. Most are like, that's crazy, that's impossible. But they're using it wrong. They're looking at it wrong. They're saying I'm possible, but in their head, it's impossible. They don't know what they're saying. And so just focusing on the 1% is insignificant. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to read a page. I don't read. Let me read one page. And then that one page turns to 365 pages just by that one habit. That could potentially be 2 books a year. I don't know what the average of how many books are finished, but I can guarantee you probably not many. I know for a fact when I had the school reading, I did not do it at all. I was not doing the school reading. I actually bombed the test on the summer reading or whatever. I bombed the test, but what I've learned from the test, I used that to fucking get 90 on the stupid ass essay. Just because I was using what I learned from the test and applied that to the essay. Most of you would find the test being bombed. You know you're going to bomb the test, but it's insignificant to pay attention because you don't know. For me, it was like, okay, I'm going to bomb the test so I could make sure I'm up on this side, right? Again, focusing on 1% every single day. And you apply that to every aspect of life. Maybe you're getting the average steps like 3,500 or something like that a day. Well, look to do a little bit more. Get 500 more. Then add another 500. And by the end of the year, you'll make it to that 10K steps and it'll be like nothing to you. Realize that starts with the little stuff, and that's what builds momentum. All the people who go hard and say, okay, you need to get to 10,000 steps by the end of this year. What do you choose to do? Let's say 2026. That's your goal. Well, you go hard and you do 25,000 steps, And then because you went so hard in doing 25,000 steps, you're so sore that you can't even move. And so now you miss out for a whole week. That's what happens when you do too much. But if you do it little by little, eventually, which eventually is undefeated, you'll achieve it easily. But it just takes forming that small action into a habit and then keep stacking it. But most people don't stack it. They rather say that it's impossible. They rather wish for Santa to fix their problems, but they're actually wishing for Satan to fix their problems. And then they wonder why everything's so negative. That's hilarious. And if you think that's joke, well, send me that text saying Santa. Until next time.